So today we have Cody McCullough, an assistant city attorney and community prosecutor with the City of Dallas. Cody, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, what we try to do is we try to combine elements so that we do kind of a comprehensive look at addressing quality of life in our communities. So we try to address the crime rates, we try to address how people live in their communities, the conditions that surround them. So what we do is we kind of combine using criminal law with using municipal law, administrative law. It's a look that is kind of fundamental to building the core of our communities. So that's a lot of buzzwords. I guess the way to really define what we do is we work with police, but we work with police to incorporate them into the governmental structure outside of just the enforcement element. So if they have a really tricky, drug house or crack house, they may be able to go in there and arrest the people who are in the crack house, but they can't do anything about the house itself. Well, that's where you bring in the city, you bring in code inspectors, or you bring in some other organization to be able to help them complete the mission of reducing the crime rate by trying to strike at the roots and sort of, if you can take down the whole poisonous tree, then you don't have to worry about finding out which apples on the ground are poisonous.
So what made you want to do this type of job?
It's what's weird is I tell people that this is the job I went to law school to do. I just didn't know that. When I was in law school, I had no idea what type of law I wanted to do, what type of lawyer I wanted to be. And I think it took time not just in law school, but even being out and really understanding what the profession is to discover that this was really where I was meant to be. I knew I was going to go into public service. That was a guarantee when I went to law school. I know that there's the idea of the ivory towers, or as I would call it, the golden handcuffs. And for me, that was never that appealing. And ultimately, the way I grew up, I grew up in a very public service-oriented family. I knew I was going to do something that involved public service. It was a question of what, and there's so many things out there. There are district attorneys' offices. There are, governmental organizations. Actually, right after graduation, I worked for one of them where we were rebuilding houses for the SBA. It was after Katrina. We were rebuilding people's houses that were destroyed by a hurricane, and they were immensely rewarding, but not really something that captivated me because it didn't involve enough brainstorming or kind of using the creative side of my job. And I think that's what happens to a lot of people. You find your way into your job. And I found my way into this job by working other jobs. And then when I saw the post on this one, which is actually just on our website for the school, I said, that sounds like a really interesting job. And I called people and I talked to them and I researched the job. And it was really important that I did that. And I didn't learn that with my first few jobs. I learned it with that job. You get out there and you research your job.
Excellent point. And if you had one piece of advice for a brand new law student in the heart of downtown Dallas, what would that piece of advice be?
Brand new law student, I would say first thing, don't take yourself too seriously. Law school seems super serious and it seems super complicated and super hard. Ultimately, you can be the top of the class and fail at the bottom of the class and succeed. So not everything is going to be based on these 3 years. So first, take yourself out of that. And remember, you're not trying to make a decision for next year or the year after. You're trying to make a decision for the next decade, the next 2 decades, the next 3 decades. This is your career you're looking for, not your job. So it's important to, when you're approaching the law and when you're approaching your studies, to really determine, does this captivate me? If you think you want to be a DA because you like law and order, but you really hate criminal law, you may want to reconsider what you're thinking on the issue. If you think that you really like doing transactional work, but you just find contracts boring, you're probably not going to like transactional work. So try to figure out what fits you now while you have the chance, and experiment, see what's out there. Go, engage yourself in every aspect of the field, and I think you can really learn a lot by doing that and ultimately figure out what's best for you.
Well, this has been Talks with Lawyers. I hope it's been helpful, and we hope you can join us next time. Thanks.
Good luck to you.